All right, so what we're going to talk about now are just some of the text features. So if you just click on text command here and then just place or draw a window where you want the text to be placed, you'll see it fills it with some standard text, just some general text that you can delete and start typing. So I could say something like, hello, this is my guitar. And what I can then do is select the text, and over the properties is where you can control what type of text or font you want. So if you want to change the font style, you want to change the size, you want to change the spacing, line spacing, the paragraph, do you want it to be centered? All the font properties are controlled through the properties dialog box. You can change the color and the stroke. So if I added some outer color, I could do the inner color as one color with the outer color as another. All right, so that's just your basic standard text. And then the box here, you can change the path and adjust it accordingly. Now, there's a couple other options. There is a area type tool and a text on path. So if we did the area type tool, this is where we can select the path, and you can see that it puts the text inside this path, and then we can change the justification of it, and it puts that text and formats it with inside the path that we have here. So if we get rid of these other, let's turn these off, you can see the text. Let's turn that off. So you can see the text is actually through and following the shape. So if we go back to the properties and we change the size, you can see that it fills in and follows the shape that we selected. Okay. Now we also have on the path. So what we can do with that one is type text on path tool, and we can select this path. Let's get out of this first. We'll just turn this back on. Actually, let's do that circle. All right, so if we go to layer, we have this circle. Right, so text on path, I can do that. And then same thing under properties. Let's make the text a little smaller. Okay. And now we've got the text that follows the arc or the circle. Now there are some properties that you can align it. And if you go to the type drop down and go to type on a path, you can see there's some options. If we turn on the options, it lets us adjust the text. So if we hit preview here, you can see by flipping it, it's now on the inside. We can skew it. We can 3D ribbon it. Just flip it back. Okay. There's a stair step. So a bunch of different ways of adjusting it. Rainbow is probably the most common. You have the spacing, so you can make the spacing more spread out or tighter. Okay. You can also align it either on the top or bottom, ascender or descender they call it. You could center it, so now it's centered around that piece of text, as well as just having it as the baseline, which is what we had. And you can use some other, again, options over here to adjust your line spacing and what location. Now the direct select tool, you'll see, also provides the anchors for it on the path. So what this will allow us to do, if we zoom in, is if I select that path there, let's do this. I can select this, and we can change the anchor location. So if I was to rotate this around, you can see I can change that anchor location. If I grab this, I can also change that. So we're grabbing that, and I'm able to adjust it. Okay. So you can slide this guy around. You can see how it's spaced in between there. So this would be the center of the text. So if we set it to center, it's adjusted on the center, and I can rotate this text around, and we can spread this end location or the beginning location. So it lets you kind of orient it around the arc or the circle that you may have in this case. So a couple different ways to add text to your object. You remember, whenever you're going to the SVG, however, any text, you have to create the outlines before you export out to the SVG. So I'd recommend that you save this before you do that, right? Save it with the text so you can change it. And I'll show you that in some of the tutorials where I will save the image, create the outlines, and export the SVG, and then I'll undo, or I'll save it as a totally new file, keeping the text as text and not outlines.